Okay, they're back in the courtroom. We're waiting for audio to come up. The judge maybe not back in chambers. There's Cory Batey drinking from a water bottle, and he's going to announce now, and here we go, whether or not he's going to testify.
Let's bring him in.
It's not up.
Judge, we would again file a motion to eliminate about the limited amount of background information.
All right.
Certainly not anything about any post-indictment events.
All right. All right, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you very briefly. When defendants testify in cases, I go through what we call a colloquy with them. And I didn't know that Mr. Batey was going to testify until it was announced, and I did not have the opportunity to go through the colloquy. I have done so now. So, and he is going to testify, so I just wanted to mention that to you, okay? All right.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Cory Batey.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And Mr. Batey, what do you do for a living?
Currently, I'm a stay-at-home dad to my 15-month-old son.
Okay.
Object to that as being irrelevant, violation of the motion to eliminate, and has to be stricken.
That is
All
his job. As for now, he doesn't.
Well, we had a motion to eliminate.
Okay.
All right.
That's
That shall be stricken, please.
all right. Where did you go to school?
Currently?
Yes. Well, no. Where did you go to school?
Vandenburg University.
Okay. What year did you start going to Vanderbilt?
I arrived on campus June 2012.
And when you went in June 2012, what was your major?
I was undecided at the time. I was just focusing on my general ed classes.
Okay. So, oh, and Mr. Batey, do you have any criminal charges?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So outside of what you're being charged with here today, what we all know, you have no other criminal charges?
No other charges.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Now, what did you usually do in the summers at Vanderbilt in your free time?
We usually just hunt.
Object to the relevance of what you usually do.
Yeah.
Okay. What does he do in the summer times?
Well, you need to focus on the events
All righty.
that's the subject of this trial.
Right, I know. Let's talk about the summer of 2013.
Okay.
During the weekends, what did you do?
He was just hung out with teammates, friends, just Just kicked it, had fun.
Okay. Now, how old were you at this time?
Summer 2013, I was 19.
Okay. Now, you were 19 years old, obviously underage. Had you been drinking?
During the summer? Yeah, occasionally.
When did you start drinking?
When I arrived at college.
Okay. Now, had you ever experienced a blackout before?
I never experienced a blackout.
What was the most amount of alcohol you had ever had?
Probably like 3 or 4 mixed drinks.
Okay. Now I want to talk to you about June 22nd, 2013. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened that day?
I remember waking up. Then I met up with some friends. With my friends from there, I went to go meet up with one of my mentors. He supplied me with some cash. 'Cause at the time, I didn't have a job. I was just a broke college student. He gave me money. From there, I think we went to the mall or something like that. Searched for like something to wear that night, as we typically did. And we didn't find anything at the mall. Then we were heading back to campus, and there was a store nearby campus. We stopped there and purchased some items. Then from there, proceeded. I can't remember if we got food or not, but I remember us picking up one of our upperclassmen teammates because we were underage at the time, and he bought the alcohol for us.
Okay. And do you remember what type of alcohol that was?
It was Honey Jack. I can remember it just came out at the time.
And after you got that Honey Jack and whatnot, what happened after that?
All right, we set some sort of time frame.
Right.
We're still on June 22nd, 2013. I haven't moved from there.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened after that? After you bought the Honey Jack?
What time are we talking about?
Do you remember what time you bought the Honey Jack? I know it's been 3 years.
I don't recall specifically the time. I'm pretty sure it was later in the day, approaching night.
So you don't recall the specific time that you got the alcohol, but what happened after that?
After we got the alcohol, we dropped my teammate back off at, I think it was the towers he was staying at the time. Then we went back to where we were staying, and I proceeded to get dressed.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And so you went back to the room and started getting dressed.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you guys start drinking?
I think I may have been drinking a little bit, getting dressed. I can't recall specifically, but I know we officially started drinking after I got dressed in Tippin Banks' room.
Okay. Now, do you remember how many drinks that you had when you started drinking that day?
Somewhere probably like six drinks or so.
Okay. And that was in Mr. McKenzie's room?
Yeah.
Now who was Mr. McKenzie to you? What kind of relationship did you have with him?
At the time, Mr. McKenzie, or I called him Tip. We were really close.
Right. Okay. And so you and McKenzie were teammates?
Yeah.
And you all were close at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
What about Mr. Banks? Did you know him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you in their room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is that where you started drinking the Honey Jack?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what do you remember after that?
I remember leaving. I knew stuff had started to get fuzzy. I don't know why I went to East Hall. I don't recall anybody telling me about it, but we migrated to East Hall. Me,
Okay.
me, Tip Banks, and Myself.
And you said things had started to get fuzzy. How much of a time frame? Do you remember how long the time frame was around there? You don't?
I don't specifically remember the time frame, but I don't think I wasn't in there no less than 30 minutes, no more than an hour and a half.
Okay.
Somewhere around in there.
And at that time, had you ever drank that much in one setting?
Not in one sitting and not in that short period of time.
Okay. So you say you remember going to East Hall. What do you remember there?
I remember being a lot of like people there. I remember drinking there. That's it, really.
You remember drinking at East Hall?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what kind of liquor were you drinking there?
I remember vodka being in one of my teammates' room.
Okay. And do you know how much you had then?
At least, I wasn't really counting, but I would say at least 4 or so.
Okay. So you had that while you were at East Hall?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how did you feel while you were at East Hall?
I think that's where it really all started to set in.
Okay. And when you say it all started to set in, what do you mean?
I remember going to the bathroom and just kind of having a moment like, gosh, like I'm really drunk.
Okay. What else do you remember after that?
Not much. I remember making it to the parking lot. I know we had more drinks there, but not much.
Okay. And what do you remember about the parking lot?
I know we had lamaritas there. That was really it, really. I remember specific faces. I don't remember exactly who they were, but I felt familiar with my surroundings.
Okay. You know about how many lamaritas?
I would
You
say,
can remember?
I don't know, I don't know what the pack size was, maybe 4 or so, somewhere around there.
Okay. So, you said you don't really remember specific faces or anything while you were there?
No.
Okay. And what is your last memory?
I mean, the last memory that I can really recall is when I had that, when I was peeing in the bathroom at East Hall. After that, everything really started to set in. Everything was really just black, and I was really feeling the alcohol at that point.
Okay. Now, you sat through this whole trial,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And we're going to show you some surveillance, okay?
Okay.
All right. Wait, can we have HDMI too, please? Oh, okay. Let me see if I can see it. Yeah, scoot up a little bit for me so I can see it. And can you tell me the time on there, Mr. Batey?
The date is 6/23/2013. The time is 1:28.
Okay. Now, do you know that young lady in there, in the video?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
That would be Quayla.
Is that the one who testified today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember any of this?
No, ma'am. I don't remember.
Okay. Now, is there anything abnormal about this?
Just I'm holding the wall. She has my hand. She's kind of guiding me.
So you don't remember that, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, do you remember being in the room with Miss Royster?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you ever remember ordering any food?
No, ma'am. I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember walking her out?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what is the next thing that you remember?
I remember being kind of startlingly awakened, a tip coming into my room. I think he got a shirt or something.
Okay. And when was that?
That would be the next morning.
So if that's surveillance at 1:30 and you don't remember that at 1:30, right?
That's correct.
Then the next time you do remember is that morning when Mr. McKenzie came into your room. And if we say Tip, just for the record, it's Mr. McKenzie?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Tip is who you refer to as Mr. McKenzie.
Okay. And so do you remember what time he came into the room at all?
I don't remember what time. I know church started at 11, so it was definitely before then.
Okay, so it's before then?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember texting Sarah that night?
I don't remember.
Calling her?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember her being there when you woke up?
I don't remember anybody in the room when I woke up. I just remember Tip coming in, grabbing the shirt.
Okay. Now, so you woke up and you said he was getting, Mr. McKenzie was getting a shirt out your closet. What happened after that?
Then I can't remember if I took a shower or not, but I know I proceeded to get dressed and go to church.
Okay. And who were you with?
Going to church? Mm-hmm. I was with my freshman year roommate. His name was Brian.
Now, what happened during that time?
Well, on my way to church, I get a call from Tip. Tip was talking about the previous night. He was like, "Man, bro, you was like really drunk."
I object to what Mr. McKenzie said in hearsay. All right.
Okay, so without saying what he said, Mr. McKenzie called you?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what did you do after that?
He instructed me to.
Your Honor, again.
I apologize.
Oh, sorry.
Don't tell what he said, just what you did afterwards.
I started to go through my phone.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so after he called you, you went and looked through your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you see?
I saw some pictures that I was not familiar with. It was a female. I didn't know what had happened to her, and I was just kind of distraught and confused how those images got there.
Okay, and so what did you do as soon as you saw those images?
I immediately deleted them.
Now, did you ever make it to church?
I made it to church.
What happened then?
When I was at church, I just had a lot of confusion going on inside me. I didn't know how those photos got there. I didn't know the female in the photos. I was just kind of taken aback, I guess.
Okay. And after you left church, did you do anything? What happened after that? So you saw the pictures, you deleted them. What happened after church?
I think I just went back to my room because I was just confused. I didn't know how they got there. Like I said, it was just unfamiliar.
And did you text anybody?
I think may have texted Boyd, I think.
Why?
Because I was confused. When I was in my room, I would hear whispers and rumors and people coming knocking on the door about, "Hey, you know, have you seen this?" And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, you know, some information I had received, I thought I should text Boyd.
Okay, so you had received some information to contact Boyd, and you did.
I did.
And did you ever find out that there was a video?
At that time, I had heard about it, never saw anything.
Okay. How did you hear about this video?
From the previous conversation on the way to church with Tip.
Okay. And there was text messages between you and Boyd, I believe, right?
Yes, ma'am, I think they were
Okay.
introduced.
Who sees Exhibit 39, please? I have him. You can go ahead and give him a turn.
Thank you.
You look through those?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me when you're done.
Excuse me. Well,
Okay, you look through them?
yes, ma'am.
All right. And does this reflect text between you and Mr. Boyd
Yes, ma'am.
on June 23rd?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what were you talking about when you were asking, is everything still good?
Just was everything okay? I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know the rumors. I didn't know anything at that time. I just had heard about a video and I didn't know.
Okay. And had you heard somewhat of what was on that video?
I don't know. I think Tip may have said like his shoes was in the video, or like he saw me or something I was wearing, but I didn't know if I was in the video. I didn't know what I had done. I mean, I didn't know anything.
Okay. And so you were texting Boyd about the video? And did you ever text him, we're still good, I'm stressing?
Yeah.
What were you stressing about?
I didn't know what was going on. People had continued to, rumors were going around, people knocking on my door, people coming. I was confused.
Okay. And Then boy tells you, as far as I know, and then you ask, cool, have you talked to her? What does that mean?
I didn't know if he had talked to her. I mean, I didn't know if he had relations with her. I didn't know if he knew her. I mean, I didn't know anything.
Okay. And you asked him, is the video gone, right? And nobody else knows besides you and Carter?
Mm-hmm.
And why were you asking him that?
Because I didn't know what was on the video. I didn't know what somebody was going to see me doing that I didn't know, and I mean, I didn't know.
Okay.
So I didn't want something out there that I was in to be in circulation and I hadn't seen it.
Okay. And Mr. Boyd texts you and says, now she doesn't know that anything happened, but she passed out in Vandenburg's bed. Me, Carter, and Vanderwall and Vandenburg. Vanderwall helped us move her out to the hallway. And he responded, tell him don't say anything, nothing to anybody. What were you talking about?
Just don't say nothing to nobody. I mean, I didn't know.
Right.
I don't want anything that's false being spread. So just don't say nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
And this was all on the 23rd after church, right?
That's correct.
Now, the 24th, what happened on that day?
24th, if I can remember, I think that's the first time I left my room. I don't know if I went to class that day. I think I met up with Tippin Banks in their room. They just kind of told me, you know, what to say. Because they was like, man, you out of character, you are just extremely wild. And I was like, man, I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so you met up with them.
Mm-hmm.
You already said he told you what to say. And after that, did they ever show you any pictures that they had?
Never.
Did you ever see the video that Mr. Boyd had?
No, I never saw the video. In fact, the first time I may have seen the video is when the court proceedings started, but I never saw it.
When you say the proceedings, what do you mean?
The court hearing.
Here in court? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so at this time you didn't know what happened, and you were relying on somebody else to tell you?
Check that.
Were you relying on someone else to tell you what happened?
I was.
Okay. Now on the 25th, what happened on that day?
Again, I don't know if I went to class. I know I had workouts. I went to workouts. I was in the second group of workouts. The strength coach came in. He had a list of players' names. He kind of rounded us all up. They had this white van waiting outside for us. They put us all in the van, took us over to student conduct. They put us in this room. I can remember the head athletic director, David Williams, and I think it was assistant athletic director, Miss Candace Story Lee. They were both sitting by the doors. Nobody was talking. We was all around this like big type, like Harkness type table. And they was just pulling us one by one in to give a statement.
Okay. And did you give a statement?
I did.
And was that the statement that we heard in court a
Yes,
couple
ma'am.
days ago?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the statement based off of?
That was based off the previous day I met with Banks, and that's what he had supplied me with.
Okay. And so you didn't remember what happened, and you wrote a statement based off of what you had heard.
That's correct.
Okay. look at it. And I'm sorry, I'm looking for an exhibit. 1 second, please. You don't have it? Okay. Oh, I know what it is. Can I see exhibit 40? Do you mind? I thought I had it. It's 39. Yeah. Okay, can I see it first? I don't have mine. I don't know where it is. Thank you. You know what this is? Nobody knows what this is. A through F. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 11, 12, 14. Okay. I think I get it. 1 second. Yeah, that's the same. I get it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You looked at those?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and tell me when you're done. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, is this a text message from you on the 25th between you and somebody you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in this, I'll draw your attention to number 12 and 14. You refer to the woman in the photos as a bitch. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what the text message reads. Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I mean, at that time, it was solely out of frustration. I would never intend on calling the woman that. In fact, I got all those women in those first 2 rows. I've been raised by women.
That's just
Sustained.
hand
That's okay. That's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and finish what you were saying. You don't have to,
Yes, ma'am.
we know. But I'm just saying, yeah, you can't refer to them.
Okay.
But just, you were saying, without referring to them, what were you saying?
It was just merely out of frustration. I was confused about what's going on. I mean, I've been raised by women my whole life, so I know that's not the type of language they would accept for me to call a woman, so.
Okay. And so, you said you were frustrated. And you was this around the time you were hearing the rumors about rape?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, at that time, had you seen any videos or pictures?
Like I said, the only pictures I saw at that time was the ones I immediately deleted from my phone. The video I had never saw until the court proceedings started.
Okay. And so you hadn't seen anything yet, but you were just hearing rumors about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on the 25th, did you meet with student conduct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I think I already asked you about student conduct, didn't I? I'm sorry. Now, let's go to the 26th, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That will be the day after student conduct meeting.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What happened on that day?
If I can remember, maybe we got kicked off the team that day or suspended.
Okay.
I was going to workouts, normal day. I think we might have a 7-on-7 that day or so. The strength coach called us in and told us that we would be suspended until further notice.
Okay. Did anything else happen on that day?
I think I may have met with Detective Mayo.
Okay, let me see. Would that be the 27th?
I can't remember. It was.
Okay, that's fine. Again, it's been 3 years, so it's fine. So on the 27th, you met with Metro Nashville Police. Did you have a lawyer with you?
As I was being escorted over by the assistant athletic director, I think his name at the time was Kevin Colin.
Hold on.
The question was, did you have a lawyer with you?
I attempted to ask him, did I need legal representation?
Non-responsive.
Hold on, that's fine. You can explain it. Just answer the question
no.
first. Did you have a lawyer?
No, ma'am, I didn't have a lawyer at the
Okay.
time.
Did you want a lawyer?
Like I was trying to say, I was asking him, did I need an attorney? He was like, no, I don't think that'd be needed.
Okay. And this was the 27th. You met with Metro Nashville Police Department, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Detective Mayo. And what did you tell him?
I just referred the story over that we had formulated, that Banks had told me. But I told student conduct, I just told him the same thing.
So it was the same thing that you had already told student conduct?
That's correct.
Now, at that time, did you remember anything that had happened on the 23rd?
I was still unaware and confused.
And had you seen any pictures
I still
other than the ones in your phone?
None.
And later, of course, we found out that that wasn't the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and Your Honor, before I go through these other exhibits with him, I would really like to take a bathroom break, if you don't mind.
All right.
Thank you.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. All rise.
Well, 5-minute recess.
I'm going to put some more.
Based on Beatty's state of mind, what we've heard to this point, if it's rough today, could they revoke his bond to keep him here?
Yeah, the judge can't do it on his own. The state's going to have to raise the issue because bond is not something that's handled sua sponte or by the judge. But I think the judge could revoke the bond if the state raises the issue because the likelihood of conviction, I think, is increased and the court's heard the proof. But there's also the other side of that, and that he's never missed a court appearance.
Oh, right. We'll see how emotional he gets. Let's listen in.
I'm gonna have 28, 29, 30. Let's see first, yeah. Those first, please. Now, you remember Detective Gish testifying earlier this week?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
And when he testified, he put in 9 photos that were from Mr. Vandenburg's iPhone, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And he identified you in 4 of the 9 photos. You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want you to take a look at 28B, E, G, and H.
Hold this down, please. Thank you.
Yes.
B, E, G, H. Now I think I put them on top first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see.
You see?
Yeah.
Mr. Batey, is that you in those pictures? 28 B, E, G, H?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I don't.
Now, you're not in the rest of the pictures, but you've seen them,
Yeah.
right? Do you remember any of that?
I don't.
Okay. I'm going to give him these right here. I might refer them. You can put it back in the thing. Okay. This is, hold on, let me not put that one there. B A Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Which one?
29E. That is the one Detective Gish identified you in?
Yeah.
Would that be your hand?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No.
You've seen the other pictures, and are those the pictures that were found in your phone that morning?
If they got them from my phone, yeah, I deleted them so fast I
Okay.
can't.
Do you remember any of those pictures being taken?
I don't.
Okay. All right. There you go. Oh, I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting to give you that. Mr. Batey, I want you to take a look at 30A, B, C, D, E, M, and N.
All right.
Those are the same ones that Detective Gish said he identified you in?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember any of that?
I don't.
You've seen the rest of the pictures in those? Those are from Mr. Banks' phone? Do you remember any of the other pictures being taken?
Don't.
Okay. Now, Mr. Batey, have you ever experienced a blackout before?
Never. Never.
Had you ever drank that much before?
Never. Like I said, I've only had 3 or 4 mixed drinks or something.
And Mr. Batey, you're saying prior to June 23rd, the most you had ever drank was 3 or 4?
Object. She's telling what he's saying. Should be him telling her what he's saying.
I apologize, Your Honor. He just stated that, as I said, I only had 3 or 4 drinks. Okay.
That's all.
You had ever only had 3 or 4 drinks
Yes, ma'am.
prior to this day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you were 19 at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Batey, do you take responsibility for drinking too much?
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
And Mr. Batey, before this day, did you know Brandon Vandenburg?
I didn't know him. I knew he was a new recruit, but I didn't know him.
Okay. And Because of your lack of memory, do you remember Brandon Vandenburg doing anything in the room that night?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you feel as if Brandon Vandenburg was responsible for your drinking?
Your Honor, check out what he feels. Particularly in response to the last question.
It's what he knows, what he
Okay.
perceives.
Is he responsible?
No, he's not responsible for the amount of alcohol I've took my intake that night.
He's not, I'm sorry, can he's not responsible for your alcohol intake?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you don't know what he did that night?
I don't remember.
Now, I want to ask you about just a moment, let me find it. In preparation for a prior hearing, do you remember speaking with the Dr. Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many drinks did you tell Dr. Walker that you had?
I remember giving him an estimate, a total estimate, like, the other night, like 14 or 22 or something like that.
Okay. And that estimate that you gave, why did you give an estimate?
Because I didn't really know. It was just an estimate.
Okay. And do you remember in the prior hearing Dr. Walker testifying about that?
Your Honor, I'm
Yes.
objecting to any of Dr. Walker testifying.
Well, we've heard testimony this entire week.
Judge, I object to her making a statement. If that's not a statement, then it's certainly a leading question.
Sustain, just ask questions.
Well, Your Honor, I am going to just ask
Ms. Teasley,
questions.
just ask questions, okay?
And I will.
All right.
You had 14 to 22 drinks, and that's what you told Dr. Walker, right? That was the estimate that you gave, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you had a prior hearing, you testified that you had how many drinks?
Again and again.
I'm not leading, I just asked open-ended question. I started with in the prior hearing, because I have been asked over and over to be specific about the time frame that I'm talking about.
Your Honor, certainly heard her say you testified, that's leading.
Oh, my God.
That is.
Okay, you remember testifying in the prior hearing
Yes, ma'am.
about how many drinks you had?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many did you say you had prior?
Total, 14, at least 14,
Okay.
22.
And that's because, how many did you say of Honey Jack that you had?
Your Honor, object to that as being improper bolstering because he has not been impeached about that.
Well, I'm not impeaching him. I'm asking him what his prior testimony was concerning drinks. Now, there has been, well, Your Honor, may I?
Sustain, I sustain the objection. Move on.
I get it. I just want to exactly get on the record that I am not trying to ask
Ms.
him.
Teasley, I sustain the objection. Move on, please.
Your 14 drinks has been consistent throughout, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Was Dr. Lippman's report based upon 14 drinks?
Your Honor, object to
Yes.
that.
He can testify yes or no.
Okay. One at a time. Jury has heard Dr. Lippman. Is repeating Dr. Lippman's improper.
I will, Your Honor, then get the exhibit and show it to him and see if this is consistent with what he told Dr. Lippman. Dr. Lippman, it was questioned, brought up, showed to him about his testimony that said it wasn't consistent. I'm just asking him if Dr. Lippman's report is consistent with what he said, since they used his prior testimony to basically say Dr. Lippman's report was wrong.
Judge,
That's all.
that is a question for the jury to determine, not Mr. Batey, and I don't believe there's any testimony that he ever spoke to Dr. Lippman.
I am asking him, he's testified now about how many drinks. I'm showing him Dr. Lippman's report, an estimate of his drinks, and asking him if that is correct or not, just like
Well, it's already
prosecution has.
in the proof.
Well, and that's fine. I can ask him about the exhibits and evidence, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and that's what I would like to do. Please review that, Mr. Batey. Have you had time to review it, Mr. Batey?
Yeah.
Specifically, reasons for my opinion. And I believe that's on the second and third page.
Yes.
And here they say 8 to 10 shots of Jack Daniel.
Yes, that's what it says under information provided B. He consumed 8 to 10 shots of honey jack.
Okay. And you just testified, you told Dr. Walker 6 to 8, right?
Yeah.
And single shots of vodka, what does he have there?
3 to 6 single shots.
Okay. And you just testified, you told Dr. Walker 4 to 6?
That's correct.
Limeritas, he has 3 to 6?
That's correct.
You testified, you told Dr. Walker 4 to 6?
That's correct.
On the low end, does it still equal 14?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Dr. Lippman's report is based off of at least 14 drinks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. And you didn't talk to Dr. Lippman at any time, right?
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
You didn't you didn't talk to Dr. Littman. You interviewed with Dr. Walker, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Now, we have seen 3 videos in here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And one of those videos didn't have you in it. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Detective Gish said the other 2 did. Did you see those videos?
Well, see it, yes, ma'am.
And was that you in there?
Yeah.
And do you remember that?
No, ma'am.
Now, we've seen them, and I'm sure the state may show you again, but you don't remember any of that.
I don't remember.
From 1:30 a.m. on June 23rd
Yes, ma'am.
to your next memory being that morning sometime a little bit before 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, after this entire thing, you testified. Was Vandenburg anywhere in this afterwards? Did he ever show you pictures?
No, not that I remember.
Okay. And was he in on the whole story that Banks told you?
I don't remember. I don't know if he was there or not, but I'm pretty sure he's probably with us.
Okay. Did Vandenburg ever call you after he interviewed with the police?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Okay. And to this day, you still have no memory of what Vandenburg did in the room?
I don't remember.
1 second, Corey. Mr. Batey, I have no further questions for you.
Mr. Batey, believe it or not, I'm going to try to be as brief as possible here because
Yes, sir.
you don't remember anything, correct? From 1:30 till what? Give us an hour in the morning of the Sunday morning.
I don't remember a specific hour.
Oh.
Church started at 11.
Okay, and that was an event that was team-related, that your position coach required that you and the other wide receivers go to church with him that morning, correct?
No, sir, that's incorrect. Actually, I was at safety at the time, and Tip was a wide receiver.
Okay. So you just decided to go on with Mr. McKenzie because he had to go to church at 11 o'clock with his position coach, correct?
I don't think he went to church. I went to church with Brian.
Oh. You were,
I don't know that he was finished with his response.
well, I gave a pause, but were you finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought so. Thought so. All right. So, there is no way for anyone to know whether you do or don't remember these events. That'd be a fair statement.
That's a confusing question.
He hasn't tried to answer it yet, so.
I'm objecting because he just got the question out, and I'm saying that it's confusing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to repeat the question.
All right.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
You say you don't remember anything between 1:30 a.m. and, let's say, 10 o'clock or sometime before church that same morning, correct?
That's correct.
And there is no way for anyone to know whether that's true or not other than you, correct?
I mean, I took an oath under God, so
Well,
I'm
certainly.
required to.
Certainly.
Yes, sir.
And before you talked to Dr. Walker and gave him this alcohol estimate, you had heard some...
Your Honor, I believe we're going into something that I thought, Your Honor, we talked about in a motion in limine. I'm not sure that that's where he's going, but asking Your Honor to step in the back.
Well, perhaps if I could just walk over and...
All right.
Mr. Rob.
I'm fine with that.
Maybe we do need to step back.
All right.
Yes, sir. But I'll find out the details.
I think this may go to an exhibit.
Okay. And then you can go on with some awards. Plenty in there.
I'm going to have to use the bathroom if I do that.
Are you?